Okay, so let's dive into this explainer on a truly remarkable legal battle. We're talking about a case that was dead and buried for over a decade, involving millions of dollars. How on earth was it brought back to life? And you know what? The answer is a surprising yes. And the story of how it happened, well, it reveals some absolutely fascinating things about the nitty-gritty of how our justice system actually works. At the heart of this entire saga is one single massive question. And it all kicks off with a ton of money changing hands way back in 2006. Yeah, we're talking about almost 30 million new Taiwan dollars. And you can bet a number that big is going to set off some serious alarm bells with the tax authorities. Okay, now look at this timeline. See that huge gap? The family pays the tax in 2010. Case closed, right? Done deal. But then, 12 years later, his daughter takes action. So you gotta ask, why wait so long? And more importantly, could she actually do anything after all that time had passed? And this right here, this is the core of the entire conflict. The tax bureau's perspective is simple. A father gave his family money. That's a gift. Pay the tax. But the family says, no, you've got it all wrong. This was just paying back an old family debt. Everything. We're talking millions of dollars. It all hangs on which one of those stories is true. So the daughter's legal team decided to try the most direct route first. Let's call it door number one. They basically knocked on the court's door and asked, hey, can we just reopen the original case? Now, that is a really big ask. It's kind of like calling for a do-over in a game that's long since finished. And the law does have a special procedure for it, but it comes with some really, really strict rules. It's an emergency lever, for sure, but you can only pull it under very specific circumstances. And here's the catch. The whole system is designed for stability. You can't just have people reopening old cases forever. It would be chaos. So there's a hard deadline, 5 years. 5 years after a case is closed, that's it. The door is supposed to be locked for good.
And, well, you can see the problem here. She filed in 2022. The case was finalized way back in 2010. That's 12 years. Way past the 5-year limit. So for the court, it was an easy call. Door number one was slammed shut, locked, no entry.
But, and this is where the story gets really good, a locked door doesn't always mean it's the end of the road. Her legal team didn't give up. They started looking for another way in, a different door entirely. So instead of trying to break down that first locked door, they went around to a new one. This time, a claim for a tax refund. The argument shifted completely. It wasn't let's relitigate the past, it was you guys made a mistake when you took the money in the first place, and we want it back. At first, though, it looked like they'd hit another wall. The High Administrative Court said no. Again. Seemed like another dead end, right? But then the case went higher, to the Supreme Administrative Court, and they looked at it and said, whoa, hold on a second, not so fast. And this, right here, is the turning point of the whole story. The Supreme Court found not one, not two, but 3 critical errors in how the lower court reasoned this out. And when you see what they are, it completely flips the script on this case. The whole comeback, this entire reversal, hinges on these 3 keys that unlocked the case. Let's walk through them one by one. Okay, key number 1. Did the daughter even have the right to be in court? The lower court said no, claiming the right to a refund was personal to her father and just vanished when he passed away. But the Supreme Court totally disagreed. They said, hang on, a potential refund isn't just some abstract right, it's a financial asset. Think of it like money in a bank account. It can be inherited, and because of that, she absolutely had the legal standing to fight for it. Key number 2, the timeline. Remember that 5-year wall they hit? Well, the Supreme Court realized everyone was looking at the wrong clock. That 5-year limit is for reopening an old case. But for this kind of claim, a tax refund based on a potential government error, the law gives you a much longer window, 15 years. All of a sudden, filing in 2022 wasn't too late at all. It was perfectly on time. And then there's the third key, and honestly,
This one is the real stunner. The lower court said there was no proof this was a debt repayment, but the Supreme Court looked into the original case file and found the proof had been there all along. It was sitting right there for years. We're talking signed receipts, a contract from 1992 explaining the debt, crucial pieces of the puzzle that were just ignored. The court ruled that failing to even look at this evidence was a fundamental error.
So, does this mean the daughter gets her $11.4 million back? Well, not quite. Not yet. But the entire game has just been flipped on its head. This powerful line from the judgment is everything. 原判却废弃,发回. It means original judgment overturned, sent back. So, the Supreme Court didn't just write her a check. What they did was they took that courthouse door that had been locked for over a decade and they blew it wide open. So, just to be clear, the Supreme Court didn't say it was a debt or it was a gift. They didn't decide the ultimate question. What they said was the lower court made some serious mistakes, and this family deserves a fair shot to make their argument with all the evidence on the table. The case is now sent back down for a whole new trial. All right, so after all of that, what's the big picture? What's the major takeaway from this incredible legal journey? It shows that sometimes the path to justice isn't about smashing through a brick wall. It's about finding the right key for a hidden door. It really highlights that constant tension between the need for cases to be final and the need for them to be fair. And it proves that with persistence and the right legal strategy, you can make a comeback, even years down the line. And it leaves us with this question, right? When the rules and fairness seem to collide, is the law a wall that just stops you in your tracks? Or is it a set of keys waiting to be found? The battle over this money is now back on, and we'll have to wait and see what happens when that evidence finally gets its day in court.